Go palakas, malusog na katawan, mapayapang isipan. Go palakas, malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa kaibigan. Go palakas, alagaan natin sa inang kalikasan. Halika na totoo sa kalikasan at kapwa-tao. Isa buhay natin ito. Go palakas, go palakas. Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan. Go palakas.
Good morning.
Good
Morning. Nice morning to everybody.
Okay, pleasant morning. It's quite chilly.
Yes.
Nice, oo.
Yeah.
Welcome to our show, Go Palakas.
Okay.
Oy, marami nang bumabati. Maaga-maaga si Kalindi, si Ruben Dontok, Adi Lila, and Lakshmi Espiritu. Wow.
Good
Thank you for
morning sa
tuning
inyo.
so early.
Yeah,
Okay.
syempre, there was a lot of requests from, kasi syempre, February still, di ba ito yung buwan na tinatawag natin na it's a love month. Di ba ma?
Ayun,
And
tamang-tama.
Heart Month
Heart
also.
month.
Heart Month. Yes.
So,
Keep your heart healthy.
Yep.
and there's so many ways, not just merely exercising, but
Mhm.
also making
Good
sure
food.
that the heart is
Happy.
happy and
Mm-mm.
the heart is being cleansed. Di ba?
Yeah.
By
Oo.
actions we perform, by what we read.
Mm-mm.
You know, this is something that we all have been gifted with. Alam nyo, we always have this chance to be able to go deeper in our relationships in this world, not just merely a physical or attraction, but actually learning to relate person to person.
Mm-mm.
You know, heart to heart. Kumbaga, ano, minsan naisip lang natin yan. Siguro mga married couples. But you know, there's so many relationships that one can have in this world.
Yeah,
Yes.
each relationship should be a heart-to-heart
Yes.
relationship actually, di
You
ba?
go beyond the physical.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
So it's something that's very much inherent in our lives.
Oo. So, sana really personal na.
Mm-mm. Yes, and I would like to share for today, this show, marami tayong mga quotes na kukunin dito sa booklet ni nating compilation, Gems of Wisdom. Mga quotes from Ajahn Guru Siddha Swarup Ananda. Sabi nga niya, real love between people has become so rare
Yeah.
that people don't even know what it is. Kumbaga, hindi nila
Exactly.
ma-recognize na.
Mm-mm.
Kasi meron silang confusion.
Oo.
Ano yung sinabi mong, yung
Ah,
sinabi?
nung Viber Valentine's, meron
Oo.
silang questionnaire. Love ba yan or labo?
Oh,
di ba?
love or labo?
Kasi minsan malabo nga eh.
That is the question.
Yes.
Actually, sa booklet natin, dinidescribe that there is something else that can be mistaken for real love. No? And this one is, nasabi that lust is actually a manifestation of inner spiritual hunger. And the attempt to satisfy spiritual hunger in sense pleasure is due to lack of wisdom. Okay? So, yung sinasabi dito that the development of real love cancels out lust. So, ito pala yung labo na yon.
Oo.
Ibig sabihin, yun ang equivalent nun actually yung lust.
Oo.
No?
Right.
Oo. So, this lust is very more common in the world. Na,
Oo nga.
na-
Paano natin alam na last nga yun or love?
ano ba ang
diba?
simptoma ng lust, no?
Oo.
In the description, when it, you know how these things takes place or gets hold of a person's life, in the lust, to the point where a person might do so many things that is totally off
Oo.
Yeah.
and without any reason.
Oo.
You see, many times is the perspective of how we can live our life with a deeper purpose and reason. May purpose sa lahat ng bagay. Yun ang kagandahan sa human life. Kasi we can be guided with reasoning. Now, hindi lang yung blindness or
Love is blind daw kasi sabi. So,
parang
parang,
ganun. Hindi yata ganun yan.
Ay, hindi
Then
Kasi-
minsan kasi pag inisip love, feeling, hindi na
Okay.
nagre-reason.
Oo.
But the two have to go together.
Yes.
Yeah, and love is not something that just grows suddenly. It's not something that takes place.
Oo. Actually, it's
All of-
nurtured.
It's
eh.
nurtured.
It develops.
Oo,
Yeah, kaya nga,
It develops.
kaya nga we were describing this last week.
Oo.
When a parental to a child relationship is something that can last their whole life.
Yeah.
And that
that's
nurturing
one
is
way
there.
to tell, no? Kung talagang love siya, it will really last. Kung last, wala, bitin.
Actually, meron dito sinabi
Biglang nawawala.
kung ano ang simptoma ng lust. Okay? Merong handmaidens daw yan. Mga alala yung lust. No? Sabi, the person does not only taste the bitterness, bitterness of lust, but also those of jealousy, hatred, malice, etc. So, yun pala, yung selos,
Ayan, part of last siya.
yun ang simptoma rin ng lust. No? And yung bitterness.
Oo.
Yung
Galit.
Mapait.
Galit.
Oo, parang
There's anger.
Kasi
Kasi-
yung love sweet. Diba?
It leads to that. If it's lust, it leads to
Away-away.
away. If I cannot get anything from you, kasi yun ang intent mo It is
Ayun
like,
na nga talaga last, no? I
Right,
want
kasi-
something from you.
yeah, hindi
Oo.
yung
Hindi giving.
hindi giving, hindi sharing, hindi caring. Kung hindi,
Oo.
I want something.
Oo.
Or
Kumbaga
taking.
self-centered yung
Right.
yung
Yes.
direction. So yung direction niyan, kung ano yung masasatisfy, gusto ko, maranasan ko from you, you know. So basically, it is directed towards the self-taking, taking nga yung attitude. Kaya yon ibang tao sabihin nila, mahal na mahal kita, buwisit ka, di ba ganon? Bakit mo ako, bakit ka naghanap ng iba? Parang ganon.
Yung mga
hindi
crime
ba?
of passion, di ba?
Crime of
Minsan
passion.
ganun eh. Mahal ko siya, kaya ko siya pinatay kasi nagselos. So that was not really love.
Mahal kita, kaya
Oo.
kita sinasampal.
Oo.
You know, parang gano'n, kaya kita binubugbog, you know. Kasi matigas yung ulo mo, kaya, kailangan magbago ka, you know. So therefore, this lust is, yun nga yung meron kang galit.
It's
Oo.
devouring.
Hindi na yan
It's
love.
described as it's all devouring. It devours a
Parang
person.
fire, no?
It
Nasusunog ka.
starts and then it, maliit pa lang yung apoy. The flame is small then, but the more you dive into the lust, the more you dive into it, the more lust covers you.
Yeah. And the result is not happiness.
Yes.
Opposite siya ng love.
Actually, meron ako noon, nagbigay akong seminar sa PUP, tapos sabi nung isa dun sa audience, ay, ganun pala yung lust, kaiba pala siya sa love. Sabi niya, yung palang nararamdaman ko para dun sa kaibigan ko, hindi pala love.
Oo.
Sabi niya, ganun, na-realize niya, sabi niya,
Yes.
yung pala lust pala yon, sabi niya. So, it's very good to check
Oo.
'Di ba? Yung nararamdaman kung ito talaga ay love, which is giving, or
Mm-mm.
is it taking and self-directed.
So,
Kasi-
let's say sa ganun situation, kung nalaman mo last pala yung sa'yo, is there a way to turn it into love?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, kasi the common ground is this. Kadalasan, in the environment we live in, or the communities, our world, or even in our educational institution, the tendency in our society is to teach you early in your life for you to be happy and to enjoy something. You have to lay claim. Claim of ownership.
Oo. Parang
Yeah.
natural kasi you have to be the owner to
Yes,
enjoy
may
something.
ganun eh. May
Oo.
underlying factors kasi yan eh. Kasi
Oo.
for me to be able to enjoy something or someone,
Oo.
I have to be able to kind of
It's gotta be mine.
lay claim. Kasi or
Oo.
else, there's limitation. You cannot fully express yourself or whatever your intent is to be able to come out naturally. So this is where, in the world we live in, a tendency nagiging ganito. So we find that, if it's lust, you have this strong desire. Alam niyo, pag nakuha niyo na, tapos how to enjoy that or how to enjoy another person, it wanes. Yung nagtatapos siya. Parang, ay, may pagkukulang. Ay, when you begin to discover something that is, kasi when you have a relationship, di ba, kadalasan niisip mo na, you're introspecting, you're thinking, may ganun ang process niyan eh. So kadalasan, yung anticipation mo, nangyayari yan. So what happens is, pag nandiyan na, hindi pala ganun.
So, talaga hindi siya naglalast.
Expectation.
Oo.
Oo. So,
Okay.
Whereas love, di ba, you learn, if you love someone, then you learn to appreciate them more and more as time goes by.
Yes.
and you
Oo.
accept their weaknesses.
Oo,
Yes.
you
No?
overlook
Yung
it na nga.
imperfections, you
Oo.
overlook that.
Overlook
It's
that.
not
Oo.
like, you start to pinpoint, ay,
Oo.
kasi ganito ka, kasi ganun ka eh.
Oo.
You know,
Kasi sa
hindi na-
umpisa, usually, itong pag-last, di ba, you're attracted to their youthfulness, their strength, yung
Their
ganoon ba,
money.
their money, oo. Habang tumatanda, syempre, nababawas na yan. Dati may buhok, ngayon nawala na. Hindi na siya maskolado, biglang pumayat na, or tumaba na. You know? So, if your relationship is last talaga, nagpapalit din according to the package that you fell in love with, di ba?
Yeah, that's why
Ano lang yun,
in a
external
parental
lang eh.
relationship, di ba, sa children, ano yan the real caring comes about and it's expressed in so many different ways. And kumbaga no matter what we try to, how we look at it, parang you don't measure time. Parang sa ganun na relation, minsan kasi ganun ang katumbas doon kung may lalim ang pagmamahalan eh. But syempre, alam natin, mga relasyon sa mundo na to, may hangganan.
Oo.
But ngunit dahil ang relasyon mo sa isang tao, your relationship with another person, comes from your heart eh. So, the tendency is that, di ba, minsan yung parang, as we grow older, we've yung kumbaga yung parang yung relasyon ng mag-asawa, parang walang hangganan yung direksyon, di ba? O yung dating. Pero pag nagkahiwalay sila because of, panahon ng one has to leave his body or masakit. Di ba? Masakit at malungkot. Minsan nga, hindi sila makarecover. Gusto nilang sumunod na. Sa akala na this way would let them come together again.
Pero bihira na yung ganyan, ano?
Wow.
Marami, mabilisan na lang. Kumbaga, minsan nga sinasabi natin na parang yung marriage contract these days, meron ng expiration date.
So let's greet some of our listeners.
Yes,
Rose from Iloilo, good morning to you. Then Vina Pascua from Baguio.
Yes.
And
Luntian Karihan. Okay. And
Nitz Lopez.
Oo, from
From
Davao,
Davao.
no? I hope you guys will be safe.
Sabi nga
May
niya,
signal number 1 sila.
rainy Saturday daw sila.
Oo, may
Tayo
may
sunny, pero
bagyo
sila rainy.
Oo,
Oo.
bagyo doon.
And then let's greet
Stay
Mary
safe.
Salazar and
Jose Angelo de la
yes,
Cruz.
and then
from
Narcisa.
Makati. Oh. from Dagupan
Oh,
daw.
Dagupan. Good morning.
Oy, si Mila Celeste, our friend from Quezon City.
Mm.
Miguel Vargas from Dalumpinas,
Oh, right
Oeste,
here in
oo,
La
San
Union.
Fernando.
Mm-mm.
And Karkar from Abod.
Uh-uh.
Maayong buntag. Go pala ka, sabi niya. Okay. And,
Okay, and we have a message from Dixie
yes.
Palmos. Sabi niya, after my morning online class, I always make sure to tune in. I always learn from each episode to share with my family and friends. The show is just as an
Just an
inspirational.
inspiration,
Yeah,
yes.
just as inspirational.
Salamat.
Very nice.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
very much,
Mm-mm.
Dixie. And from Miguel Vargas, yes, temporary lang siya nasa Quezon City kasi naakala niya nandito sa La Union si Mila. And of course, Muriel, who's always joining us.
Yeah.
Kapamilya, okay. The perfect love of the Supreme Being is the only thing we should desire. All other love will fall short shortly.
Talaga.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Fall short, sabi niya. Okay, correction. Actually, yung mention niya ito, it's meron tayong quote niyan. Sinabi dito that if you taste love for God, it will automatically expand to your neighbors.
Mhm.
You will love them, but you will not need them.
Oo.
If a person directs his love towards the Supreme Person, his desire for someone to love will be fulfilled so completely that he will never become attached to anything or anyone in the world, although he will, in the truest sense, love everyone.
Yan.
Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Mabubusog yung ating desire to love if this is placed on the Supreme Person.
Right.
And it will also flow to other people. We will love them without needing them.
Yes.
Hindi ba?
oo.
Kasi yun yung nga yung sa last, I need you, don't leave me, I need you. You know,
Oo.
kasi meron kang gustong makuha,
Mm-mm,
you know, from that
mm-mm.
person, hindi naman masatisfy nung person yan,
Yes,
di ba?
oo. Parang
So,
minsan, di ba, kanina we were talking about some parents when they're raising a child, they're so strict with the child, ang dami nilang rules and everything na halos nasasakal na yung bata. And sometimes they will say, kaya nga ako nagkaanak para pagtanda ko may mag-aalaga sa akin.
you
No?
were talking about sinasabi natin,
Yeah.
investing in children, you know, kailangan.
Oo.
Kaya sinabi lang, ito ang career mo para kumita ka, para
Oo.
feeling na in the future, alagaan mo kami kasi kailangan may financial security
Yes.
kami in the future. Meron nga yung kamag-anak ko, yung anak niya nagmadre.
Mm.
Yung anak niya sa bangko nagtatrabaho,
Oo.
kumikita, ganun. Nung nagmadre, nalungkot yung magulang.
Oo.
Sabi nila, nawala daw yung talagang breadwinner nila.
Yeah.
Which in fact, to have somebody in your family to pursue spiritual life is actually a great blessing.
It
Yes.
is
oo.
the highest blessing that you can get as a
You know,
family.
it's not
Simply
bad
because
for...
it's far-reaching yung benefits na maibibigay.
Mm-mm.
Because the very basis of such decision of that person has to do with, bringing these relationships that you have in the world to a higher sphere, to a
Yes.
higher level,
Mm-mm.
which is spiritual.
Mm-mm.
Alalahanin natin, at the end of the day, we are by nature spirit.
Mm-mm.
So if we try to pursue temporary love, we won't be satisfied.
Yeah.
It is not going to be giving you the desired effect that you're
Oo.
longing for,
Mm.
because such relationship is actually reserved. May reservation yan to the person who is your constant companion.
Oo.
Just
So,
as Jesus,
oo.
when he appeared, he was constantly referring to the Father.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this is his relationship with God. And then we can find that there are so many different types of relationship that a person can have with God. Kasi the very basis of relationships in this world, saan ba nagaling yun?
Oo.
Ano ba ang pinakaugat nun?
Oo.
Tayo-tayo lang ba nag-figure out yan? Or is it something that,
From God's love.
right,
Mm-mm.
how it kind of encompasses so many limitations that this world will offer pagdating sa relasyon sa isa't isa. Kasi, hindi ba, minsan meron tayo dito sa Pilipinas, we have Santo Niño.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? May mga nagwo-worship kay Jesus, gusto nila, child Jesus naman.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? May mga ganun na relationships eh. Then there are servant and master relationship.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? And that's has a spiritual foundation.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
Speaking of Jesus, it's already Lent, di ba?
Yeah,
Oo.
Ash
During
Wednesday.
Lent, because of our love for God, we make sacrifices, di ba?
Mm-mm.
For example, yung we abstain from meat, no?
Abstinence.
Yes,
Oo,
oo.
yes.
Every Fridays, di ba? May ganyan yan.
mm-mm.
Meron
There's-
din fasting.
There's
Minsan yung ibang
fasting,
tao,
oo.
hindi ba?
Yeah, it's learning
Mm-mm.
to control then our senses
Mm-mm.
na.
And make an offering of
Yes,
love, no?
yes, oo.
To the Supreme Person, to
Yes.
God. Hindi ba?
So
Just
that's an example of really love is about giving, not
Yes.
taking. No? We're
Oo.
willing to make sacrifices.
Kasi
Oo.
pag yung tao rin under lust, ang feeling niya siya yung master. Hindi ba kasi nga yung
Oo.
sinasabi ni Tito Toby na, we are taught in this world to be in control, to be
Yeah.
the owner. Kasama rin
And the
nun yung
enjoyer.
lordship,
Oo,
lordship,
yes.
mastership, parang ako master, ikaw sumunod ka sa akin, lahat ng papagawa ko.
Mm-mm.
Kumbaga you want some people to be actually serving you and making you happy,
Yeah.
facilitating your enjoyment, ganon.
Mm-mm.
Whereas nga, yung makita mo, the likes of Jesus Christ, even the likes of great saintly people, it's always about helping people,
Yes.
no?
Oo.
Helping others and
And it's motivated out of love.
motivated
Yes, oo.
out of love.
So if we find that we have a relationship that's actually lustful instead of love, meron naman paraan
yes.
to spiritualize the relationship, di ba?
Through a process,
Mm-mm.
through meditation, yan po
Kaya
yung
nga,
ating purification
Again,
process.
it involves nurturing.
Yes. So,
Just as a relationship between a mother and a child.
mm-mm.
Nagbabago yan as the child is growing.
Oo.
But that love, the caring is never ending.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
But that's an example.
Mm-mm.
Alam mo, sinabi nung teacher years ago, sabi niya, you should try to manifest the love of God,
Mhm.
for others. You should manifest. Sabi ko, wow. Sabi
How
ko,
do you do that?
ang
Oo.
bigat nun na,
Oo,
hindi ba
oo.
yung parang I should be showing this love,
Oo.
no, to others.
Like you're a medium of God's
yes,
love
to
for
be a
others.
medium,
Mhm.
And that is what everybody can do
Yes.
actually in different ways, is to manifest this love of
Mm-mm.
the Lord to other people and to
Mm-mm.
be a medium nga.
Yes.
But of course, before you can do that, you have to connect. You have to
Yes.
connect
Yeah,
with the
there's-
Supreme. You cannot
Kailangan
fake
may
it.
connection.
Oo.
Parang
it's-
host.
and it's
Dapat
not-
konektado dun sa
And
gripo.
you know what? It's not imaginary.
Exactly.
It has a basis. Kaya we can be guided in so many ways, and there's a process to be followed. That's why when it gets to relationships in this world, there's a process that we all follow. Di ba? But when it gets to the true relationships that we need to grow within our heart too, and there's also a process. And syempre, di naman yun yung kung ano lang ang gusto mong pagmamahal, ganun ang gagawin mo. No, there's a standard. There's a way of life to it.
In fact, it's a science.
Exactly.
The science of love is being taught by great saintly people. Hindi yan parang trial and error.
Yeah.
There's a process and there are symptoms. Symptoms of this love. Actually, meron ditong quote again, as lust is transformed into its natural condition of spiritual love, the person begins to taste not just the sweet flavor of love, but also its handmaidens, such as kindness, patience, forgiveness, tolerance, humility, etc. When a person tastes these qualities, he experiences real happiness. So, kung baga yung lust, ang mga alalay niya, bitterness, hatred, anger.
frustration.
Yung love, meron namang alalay.
Oo.
Kindness, patience, forgiveness.
And
So in this way, you can see, oh, my lust is now turning back into love. Originally, love sana no? Kaya
it has a
lang
profound
nasira.
effect in how you live your life.
Mm-mm.
It changes your whole, yung interpersonal relationship mo, it changes that.
Oo.
Because when it deepens, just as if your love for God
Grows.
grows, your love for others would also grow in your heart. And then it changes the dynamics on how you see things, how you
Your
relate.
whole point of view, no?
Yes, and
Nababago.
also relationship with others, and including, the place you live in temporarily, in the world
Even
you
the
live in.
animals.
Ah,
Parang si Saint Francis, no? Lahat mahal
Oo.
niya eh. Oo.
Actually, sabi natin science of love, meron din yung actually, sabi mo, there's also process wherein your lust can grow. Kumbaga,
Yes.
kumbaga nurture mo yung lust.
Kailangan
You know,
mag-ingat tayo.
mag-focus ka sa mga material objects. Oy, gusto ko niyan. Material ambitious. Oy, kailangan ko niyan. Oy, gusto ko pa
Oo,
niyan.
oo.
Yung mas feed mo yung desire, yung material desires, mas umaapo yan, mas sabaw yan na nagbe-burn.
there's one thing that takes place in people's lives in our lives, where when lust succumbs us or covers us, it is, one thing na meron, which is common. Pag may minamahal ka, hindi ba may kasabay na fear yun?
Meron.
May fear yun, ay, you're not so sure whether, mahal ba ako nito? Or, kailan matatapos yung fear? Yung may fear ka na, kailan matatapos itong pagmamahal?
The fear to love. Alam mo daw kasi bakit? When you love, you become vulnerable.
Right.
Yan, hindi ba? Kasi you open your heart eh. So, pag nagbukas ka ng puso,
You don't
Eh,
know whether that
napakalambot
person's,
pa naman ang puso.
you don't know whether that person's going to be exploiting you. Or to the point, minsan, alam mo, there are those who succumbs to it. And, di ba, we have heard so many stories this way.
Actually,
Or even, it probably has taken place in our own lives where somebody just,
Like sometimes
took your love and just threw it away somewhere else and just used you.
Oo.
Di ba?
Yun ang
ito
mahirap like sa children, di
ito
ba?
yung
There are
pag-iingatan.
parents who actually exploit their own children. So, it's very heartbreaking stories.
Yeah, there are so many of these stories we hear, and this is due to, again, the very root of it. It's lust, to the point of someone who's an adult who's supposed to be caring for a child totally loses it,
Oo.
and instead of nurturing and caring, the opposite takes place.
Oo.
Di ba? So these are things that we face in this world, and that, how do we know?
Oo. So, di ba
Which
like
guides
that,
us.
you're saying the parent na he's not taking care of the child. Kasi they have the wrong point of view. They think this is my child.
oh mine.
Oo,
Mine,
akin itong
yes.
batang to. And I can do what I want with you.
Oo.
Yes.
Instead of seeing that this is God's child, I'm being given the responsibility to take care
Again,
of
this
this
is our,
child.
Temporarily.
this is
Oo.
a common mistake. Is when we, kumbaga the lust, di ba? Yung lust changes in this way, wherein when you start to, I mentioned this earlier, you claim ownership, or
Oo,
it's
yun
just
nga.
for me,
Yeah.
right?
For my enjoyment,
Right.
no?
And then to the point where you miss the very point of, here's a child that has been given to you to care for, and it's an opportunity
To
for you to
nurture.
nurture,
Oo.
to share that love that you experience in your heart, and that while you do this, your love for the person you really love, God, will continue to grow because it's being shared.
Yeah.
You're taking the time, you're sacrificing, you're giving so much, but
You're
yet,
molding them,
Yes.
into serving God and learning to love.
Yeah, and also, our listeners, if you want to share anything with regards to our discussion on lust and love, please comment. And of course, we would like to welcome to the show Julia Aramin, Katrina Resurrection from San Mateo, Rizal, and Nitay Dasi Munoz. Panay naman. And Maluya, ni Maluya, okay, and J Resurrection. Okay,
magandang
thank you
umaga
for
sa inyo.
joining us. Welcome. Okay? So, kung meron kayong i-share, please share. Si Jiva Atma, meron din siyang greeting for all of us. Okay, so actually, itong ang daming stories ka mababasa,
Oo.
yung mga pinatay na mga anak or mga pinatay na asawa.
O
ganon.
iniwan na baby.
Oo nga.
Sometimes in the news, you'll find it, wow, how can that take place,
Yeah, they leave
So
them in the
where's-
shoebox, in basurahan.
Where did that
Well, in
come from?
America, pina-abort, yung
Yes.
mga ganyan, no?
Kasi nga there's feeling is, this is my body. I will do
Mm-mm.
anything with my body.
Meron tayong tinatawag na actually mga crimes of passion.
Yes,
You know?
oo.
And basically, if you look at it, it's born out of this lust na it's a
It's all
burning
devouring,
fire,
they're
all
devouring.
devouring.
Hindi na sila nakaisip ng tama.
Loss of intelligence,
Yes.
hindi ba? Nawawala, sabihin lang, nawala sila sa sarili
No, kung
nila.
sinabing
Parang
loss of
nagdilim
intelligence,
na lang.
parang
nagdilim,
Oo.
nagdilim.
actions
Oo.
that have no rhyme and reason
Mm.
anymore, and no reasoning.
Mm-mm.
Wala talaga.
See, as tayo nga, that's part of the nurturing that we have as human beings,
Mm-mm.
where we can be nurtured from our very heart. God is always there. We can hear. Minsan sinasabi natin, oh, yung konsensya ko, saan ba
Oo.
nagagaling yun?
Oo.
Di ba? So, it is, if a person has clarity of mind and heart,
Mm-mm.
there's purity of his intent.
Yes.
Such experience becomes far-reaching. And there are situations where you are confronted with in the life we live in this world. Where's that guidance gonna come from?
Mm-mm.
Diba?
Mm-mm.
Siyempre, galing sa puso ng tao.
Oo.
yan.
So we are reminded, but yung proseso natin, wag nating paapuyin yung yung lust by feeding it all sorts of lalo na mga advertisements, actually yung advertisement.
Ay,
Oo
oo.
naman, marinig mo minsan
Because
ano ba
they're
yan?
geared to attract your senses.
Palakas ng palakas yung
Oo.
mamaya pag sige na, bilhin na natin,
Yeah.
Tapos it's so funny minsan in marital relationships, yung isa, meron siyang material desire.
Mhm.
Tapos binubuyo niya asawa niya,
Mhm.
bilhin natin, kailangan natin bilhin yan. Hanggang nag-away na sila,
Oo.
hindi ba? Umutang, tapos lumubog sa utang.
Mm-mm.
But also another aspect that can actually ruin even relationships is yung when the partner actually is taking alcohol or
Ay, naku.
drugs.
Yung mga
Oo.
vices.
Or
Yung mga vices,
Or
parang
May bisyo.
ano ba
This
yun?
is-
Sugalero.
Yeah, this
Oo.
is something that has been experienced time and time again by so many
Mm-mm.
families.
Mm-mm.
Once, and pag may bisyo kasi, it's a sign that
Hindi na maka-think straight no?
it's a sign of a person's, kumbaga
Lack of,
yung kanyang
Satisfaction.
struggle sa buhay.
oo.
Mm-mm.
Meron siyang
May struggle
struggles
sa
talaga.
buhay yan eh.
Doon niya hinahanap yung
May
ano niya,
lungkot,
gusto
may
niya.
kung ano-ano man ang nangyayari sa buhay ng isang tao. Kaya, at this point, what do we do? Siyempre, if a person is a nurturing heart, what you do with especially a family member or neighbors, what do you do? What is your intent?
Mm-mm.
Your immediate intent is to help. Tulungan mo.
Mm-mm.
Nakikita mo kasi kung ano yung nagiging pagkukulang Kaya
Oo.
nagiging ganun ng isang
Oo.
tao. Kasi tayo as human beings, mahaba ang memory natin, magaling ang ating talino, may guidance tayo sa lahat ng bagay. But ngunit kung tayo ay napupunta sa ganun na gawain, kadalasan yan, we are not connecting
Mm-mm.
to the truth, to the real purpose of why we
Oo.
exist. Kaya nga, tayo, from the time that we have been born, we were born in this world, hanggang sa last breath natin, di ba kadalasan, may process palaging, may guidance para sa isang tao.
Mm-mm.
Sa lahat ng aspekto.
Mm-mm.
Hindi yung in the lower species of life, in the animal world, kingdom, gano'n, no? In the kingdom, yung mga hayop, may nurturing lang sila up to a certain point tapos
Oo nga.
kumakalas lang, hindi na
Oo,
bumabalik.
pwede na.
Oo.
Kaya na
Diba?
nila.
Kaya na
Oo.
nila.
Mm-mm.
Tsaka yung survival lang, magdependa ng sarili mo, kumain, kung paano kakakain, saka matutulog, yung ganun ba? Tsaka yung reproduction mo, yun lang. Pero ang tao, hindi ganun lang. Hindi lang yun. Yun ang difference sa atin between the lower species of life. Sa atin, yung nurturing at pagmamahalan, may yan ang parang buong buhay.
Mm-mm.
Nangyayari
The
yan.
connection.
The connection
Oo.
is there.
However, kung halimbawa meron tayong case na ganoon, na meron na siyang bisyo,
Mm-mm.
addicted siya, sometimes we need some intervention din, di ba, from the outside of our family na makatulong sa atin.
Mm-mm.
Kasi yung iba, halimbawa, yung mga lasenggo, they'll beat up their wife, they beat up their
Tsaka
kids,
may ano yan
you know.
Di ba minsan, katulad ngayon, nakikita natin na yun ang nila, pinagtatakpan nila yung sarili nila, yung kanilang hirap at struggle sa
Oo.
sarili.
Yes.
So ito, ng katulad ngayon, ng panahon ngayon, medyo Yung suicide sa atin, society, nagiging talamak among young people. Nakikita yan eh.
Yes.
Kabata-bata, paano yan naging ganyan?
Yeah, in Japan nga daw, unusual. Ang dami ngayon cases of
Because-
women committing suicide. Young women. No?
Very
So,
sad.
maraming ng
Because since the
problems
pandemic
talaga. Oo.
started,
Oo.
you know.
Oo.
But again, if we seek our
Mm.
love and our satisfaction from within,
Mm-mm.
this is a very key. That's why we need to each of us have time for introspection
Mm-mm.
on a daily basis.
Mm-mm.
When we pray, when we meditate, these are times of the day that you can connect to the very source of
Source
your
of
life.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
Hindi ba?
Yes.
Yun yan eh.
Oo.
So this is important and inherent to every human being.
Mm.
If we don't give that time,
Mm-mm.
then we will be faced with whatever struggles this world will throw at you.
Mababagyuhin
You
ka.
won't be able
Oo.
to.
Yan ang tunay na bagyo.
Right.
Actually, may quote dito. Sinabi dito na, take your love, that most precious of your possessions, your heart, your entire being, your will and desire, to please and serve someone, and place it all unto God. He is supremely lovable. So, yung punto naman, hindi naman tayo pinahihirapan sa solution na yan eh.
Oo,
Hindi ba?
talaga.
It is not a bad solution. It's a wonderful,
Yeah, that
kumbaga,
is the solution.
sweet solution, hindi ba? Na you're being asked to love someone who is very, very lovable,
Oo.
hindi ba?
Tsaka unconditional pa, no? And talagang, if you try that, you'll feel the safety,
Mm-mm.
the comfort.
Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yung satisfaction
Oo.
na
Yeah.
satisfy yung longing mo.
Mm-mm.
Oo.
Kasi we need to love and be loved.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
That's essential.
We essential
Love
sa
and
buhay.
be
Yeah,
loved.
that's really
Yeah.
what we live off
Now,
of.
how do you, that's the one that carries you in your life. eh.
Mm. Hindi naman pwedeng tigasan mo yung puso mo. Hindi na ako
Oo.
magmamahal kasi
Oo.
heartbroken ako so many times. Parang ayoko na magmahal. Hindi ba yun yung
Oo,
ibang
may mga
sinasabi ng
ganyan.
iba?
Mm-mm.
Pero hindi. Nandun pa rin yung natural desire to want to love and be loved. You know?
Kahit na yung pagmamahalan minsan, mababalitaan mo yung mas lalo yung mga warriors, yung mga sundalo.
Oo.
Mm.
Oo.
Di ba? Ngayon, may cellphone na. So, madali nilang makontak yung kanilang mga minamahal sa buhay.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
Pero nakikita mo, pag malaraman mo yung mga pinag-uusapan ng ganyan, yung alam mo kasi ang hanap buhay ng asawa anytime pwede siyang mamatay.
Oo, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Very unsure.
Very
Oo.
unsure. Kaya minsan, kadalasan yung mga yan, yung may mga kwento na habang naririnig ko yung boses ng aking misis o ng mga anak ko,
Mhm.
that gives me a way to be safe.
Mhm.
Oo.
Pero at the same time,
So hindi sila reckless,
Yeah,
nag-iingat
hindi-
sila.
nag-iingat kami.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
pero syempre, yung mga ganyan na gawain, there's no guarantee. Kaya yung pagmamahal ng isang ama who is a warrior, nasabi niya rin sa kanyang asawa na may ganito ang buhay ko.
Mhm.
Kasi yan naman, yung lalim na kaya ako ginagawa ito, mas mataas din.
Mhm.
May
Purpose.
May
Love of
purpose.
country.
May
Oo.
country, may, maintaining a society and protecting a society to make it so that we all can live
Mhm.
to pursue our purpose.
Mhm.
Di ba? May
Because
lalim din
they're
yan eh.
protecting
Kasi
us.
meron din situation yung mga OFWs
Yes.
na nagkakahiwalayan,
Mm.
hindi ba? So, para hindi naman, kasi common din yung stories na habang nagkahiwalay, maghahanap ng iba, yung
Oo.
isa,
Mm.
hindi ba?
May lungkot.
Oo, pero ngayon, kung may solution naman, habang nagkahiwalay kayo, meron ka pa rin minamahal talaga na within the Supreme Being, then there's no reason for us to look for other alternatives.
So
Diba?
this is an example of if such longing should be directed to our
God.
Supreme
Mhm.
Father.
Mhm.
And when there's this longing taking place in a person's life for the love of the Supreme Father,
Mhm.
for as long as there's like feeling of separation, being in a place that I feel I'm temporarily engaged, but yet I can feel and experience that love. yeah,
Mm-mm.
that I have with the Father who's constantly with me and my constant companion, then alam niya, that longing makes you more, your heart more, your love goes deeper.
Fondness, the desire becomes stronger. Loving separation ba yun? Pag
So
ano,
may sinasabi si Katrina, okay, love is mistaken in society today as a utilitarian. If I get something material, can I get something material or
Yeah.
material things or feeling
feeling
Feeling.
from a person, then we have a relationship from parental love and as husband and wife. How can we elevate this relationship? Okay, we have been sharing these points, yeah.
Oo.
So the very basis of our existence is we are given that opportunity to be able to go deeper in our love for God. Now, when we do that, then we can easily handle what comes our way in this world, and we see what our limits are, and then your relationship can be has a higher purpose and for a deeper reason.
Mm.
No. Let's say if a husband and wife is working in their relationship, kasi may give and take yan eh. Diba? It's a service for one another. If the foundation of that relationship is based on our true, kumbaga
Identity.
identity
Mm.
plus it's based on our, but it's natural for us to be serving
Mm-mm.
and make sure that service is for a higher purpose,
Mm-mm.
then the real true caring comes about in a
Oo.
person's life.
actually also communication and sharing wisdom from a spiritual point of view. I've noticed that sometimes when there's a discussion, parang personalan lang ba? But if you try to look at your problem and you talk about it from a spiritual point of view, mas malalim yun eh, mas malinaw, hindi yung sisihan or whatever. And it's basically very nice to relate to the other person. So, meron si Rose, sabi niya, really inspiring. Francis says, good morning. And Muriel says, my friend wants to know how to love and be detached at the same time. Please enlighten us.
Mm.
Okay.
Nilalim
Maganda,
yan.
malalim yan. How to love and be detached at the same time.
Mm-mm.
Meron yung tayong binasa kanina, yung how you love people, you care for them, but you don't need them. Kumbaga, hindi sila sinasandalan.
Yes.
Hindi sila yung pinaka-security mo na doon ka, magdi-depend on your whole life. Kasi meron yung ibang tao, bibigay ko sa iyo yung buong puso ko, yung lahat ng kaloob-looban ko
Oo.
pa or something like that. Parang kung mag-love sila, parang lahat na
Oo.
ibibigay nila.
Oo.
Actually, meron lang kasi nga because if you're trying to love God, ano na yon, satisfied ka na.
Yes.
Hindi ka na you're not demanding anything anymore from
Yeah.
people.
It's got to come from a wisdom, yeah. You
Mm-mm.
have to understand that there is God, and then this person, let's say you're loving God, then you will be aware of your identity. The person you love is also a child of God, like you.
Yes.
Yeah, so you
Oo.
can relate to each other, be attached in that way because you naturally love each other. But you also understand that that person does not belong to you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that the relationship is not also based on the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes mag-aasawa pa lang, meron na silang kontrata, di ba?
Oo.
Prenup. Yeah,
Prenup siya.
because they get attached not just to the person, but they think that the person belongs to them. This is my wife. These are our things, or these are my things, and those are your things. Okay, pag naghiwalay tayo, hindi tayo. You don't get my stuff. Okay, so it's got to be really clear to you from the start who you are, what your position is as spirit souls who are. You're separate, yeah. You're separate individuals. The basis has to be spiritual love talaga.
And wisdom na kailangan
Yes.
na you have a clear idea or clear
Mm-mm.
understanding of you, who you really are and who the person is.
Mm-mm.
And you have a relationship with God. And
Yeah.
basically, you respect.
Yes.
Okay, you respect their will. You respect also their desires. You're not
Oo.
trying to control them. At the same time, you are not trying to use them or depend on them
Yeah. We
for
need
your
to know, that
yeah.
everyone in this world, whether there are animated or inanimate, they are all belonging to God.
Oh, kaya nga sinabi dito ni love is giving, lust is taking. Tapos sabi rin ni Jiva, sabi niya, love is the most common topic talked about in the world, and yet it is also the most misunderstood. Although there are tons of books, movies, songs, poems, etc., attempting to dwell on the subject, there remains a serious lack of truthful, practical, and clear explanation of the reality of love. Without valuable wisdom and insight on the matter, people rush into various relationships expecting to feel love and happiness, but then end up experiencing frustrations, pain. Okay.
That's why
Yes.
there are standards too.
Oo.
Let's say,
That's why it's so clear. You need to really differentiate the lust from the love.
yeah,
eh.
plus in a society, this is something that, or in a family even,
Mm-mm.
you know how we, if they say, if I'm a father, I have daughters, no, I want to make sure that my child is raised in an environment that priority is that our interpersonal relationship has a deeper basis. And then that you and me, by nature, are servants. And service is the way of our life.
Yeah.
So, and even in marriage, bago mag-asawa, let's say me as a father, I want to make sure that my child, my daughter, will marry someone who can sustain what I have tried to nurture my daughter. That ito ang goal ng ating buhay. Di ba? On the end of the day, it's loving service to our Father, to God. So ngayon, kung ganito ang basihan ng relasyon, yung parang you hand your daughter to somebody who you feel will sustain
Will take over your role.
your
no,
role
of
as a father.
caring.
And then you see, this cements that relationship from the very start because you know that it's a nurturing relationship.
Oo.
And the nurturing is based on helping one another increase our love for God. Kasi when
They
we both do
grow.
this,
Oo.
so there's no question of, what one of our listeners is saying about, how to be detached. Di ba? Kasi minsan, we know our limitations kaagad eh, and we know that our relationship is not going to be lasting in the world. But yet we can experience relating to each other in a deeper way, which is a soul-to-soul relationship, a spirit-soul relationship. And in that such a relationship, you can also you experience your relationship with God. Yun ang kagandahan noon. Kaya nga importante palagi. Even in most scriptures, inuumpisahan palagi commandments eh. Mahalin mo
Oo.
ang Diyos.
Tapos later,
Then,
parent.
mamahalin mo na lahat.
Parents.
Mamahalin mo na lahat. Second commandment yun.
Oo.
Kung ginawa mo yung una, natural lang cover mo yung pangalawa. Siyempre, yung mga iba ron, nandun
So yun
na
ang important, most
make sure
important.
pag ikaw ay nag-asawa, those who are really, kumbaga may lalim yung marriage nila, makikita nyo. Kumbaga, they look at it as marriage is for life.
Yeah, kaya
My
yung,
commitment.
kung ganun ang relationship ng husband and wife, hindi mangyayari yung nahiwalay ka lang sa ibang bansa, doon ka nagtrabaho,
Oo.
nalimutan mo na si,
So anyway,
si
I think
spouse.
we're out of time here. And,
Yeah.
We are already.
We
okay,
have,
greetings to kay Rene Araneta from Cebu again,
and also shall we invite everybody to the virtual concert tonight?
Oh yes.
7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sifcare Love Month concert. Okay, you can tune in to the Sifcare Facebook page.
Oo, may
Okay, and
poster ba yan?
This will be at 7 p.m. There will be wonderful songs all about love.
Yes.
And shared by our friends from abroad and some friends here in the Philippines. We have several people singing wonderful, meaningful songs for you, just for you. Okay.
And also, I just want to
Sana
greet
may
those like
poster.
we have been getting a lot of help or at least support from our friends who's been coming around to support the Turtle, the Kurma program na
Yes.
ginagawa natin.
We would also like to thank Jericho Rosales for posting his nice video on the Kurma Hatchery. And very wonderful response. I think it gathered na mga 11,000 views. Okay. And from my Nigo tribe, sabi niya, thank you for teaching us what love truly is and who is really worthy of our love and service.
Okay, let's end it that on that
Yes,
one. On that
yeah.
note.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa inyo and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Please continue supporting the program. Thank you so
and
much.
please watch that virtual concert tonight, 7 to 8
again,
p.m.
be careful, mag-iingat tayo. Stay safe and healthy for your family. And we all know that
And all your
sometimes
loved
we need to
ones.
work, but yet you also have to. There are times like this that health
Ingat-ingat.
is wealth
Yes.
Okay.
more than anything else. Di ba? Kasi right now, we are experiencing some economic struggles. But yet, if we have the shelter and that loving relationship with our Father, our true Father, we will not feel that there is something lacking in our life. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
everybody
you.
take care.
Take care. Stay safe.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas! Hari ho ni Tagore